Hey, how's it going? So, today we are going to talk about one of the Psalms, Psalm 29 to be exact. This is a super powerful psalm. I think power is definitely the way to describe it. It's really inspirational. I was kind of thinking about this one today in tandem with some writings from Emmet. I'm excited to share what this one means with you guys, at least what it means to me, and I think what it should mean to you. So, starting with verse 1, we'll just read through it. It's a short psalm, and then we'll kind of break it apart line by line. I actually haven't looked at this line by line yet, so we will be going through it together for the first time, and that should be fun. Starting with verse 1. Give unto the Lord, O ye mighty, give unto the Lord glory and strength. Give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. The voice of the Lord is upon the waters. The God of glory thundereth. The Lord is upon many waters. The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is full of majesty. The voice of the Lord breaketh the cedars. Yea, the Lord breaketh the cedars of Lebanon. He maketh them also to skip like a calf, Lebanon and Syrian, like a young unicorn. The voice of the Lord divideth the flames of fire. The voice of the Lord shaketh the wilderness. The Lord shaketh the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of the Lord maketh the hinds to calve, and discovereth the forests. And in his temple doth every one speak of his glory. The Lord sitteth upon the flood. Yea, the Lord sitteth king forever. The Lord will give strength unto his people. The Lord will bless his people with peace. The Lord will give strength unto his people. So that to me kind of sums up this psalm. And he will bless his people with peace. So if we think about what it means to have strength, what it means to have power, which is essentially what this psalm is about. It means to be able to take your circumstances, take your environment, and bend it to your will. If that's not what power is, if that's not the measure of strength, I don't know what is. So a lot of times in the modern day world, we're confronted with these philosophers or these so-called scientists who they tell us that the measure of how fit a man is how adaptable he is, how yielding he is to his environment. When the Bible defines it almost the complete opposite. To be strong, to be powerful, is to make the environment bend to your will. So don't buy into this Darwinian bullshit that it's survival of the fittest, and that fittest means how well you can adapt to whatever garbage is being forced into your life or into your mind or into your body. Don't let that be the case. Instead, focus on your inner world, gaining control and mastery over that, and then watching how that ultimately molds your external circumstances. Because God gave us dominion over the world. He did not give the dominion of the world. He didn't give the world dominion over us. So why don't we dive in a little bit line by line here and see what we can uncover. So starting with the first verse. Give unto the Lord, O ye mighty. Give unto the Lord glory and strength. So interesting that he's addressing what seems to be us as mighty. O yea meaning us, or you, O you mighty one, give unto the Lord glory and strength. So there, he's already kind of acknowledging us as strong, at least that's how I'm interpreting it. But he's also saying at the same time, hey, humble yourself to God, realize the source of all real power. So what is that source? Just as a reminder, when we're reading the word Lord here, we're not talking about some external God. What we're talking about is our imagination, is our awareness, is the core of our identity. So when you're giving glory to the Lord, what that means is you're recognizing that your inner being, your imagination, your faith, your awareness, more than anything else, is the source of all. And that's what it means to give glory unto the Lord. When you see something like a number hit your bank account, when you see something good or bad happen in your external world, a girl breaks up with you, you suddenly have a spontaneous healing, whatever the circumstances are. To give glory to the Lord at that moment means to recognize the real cause of it, which is you imagined it, you felt it real, and you gave your own awareness to that state and essentially breathed life into it. So give glory to the Lord means give yourself credit for everything in the world. Verse 2, give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name, worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. So what's the glory due unto his name? Well, what's his name? I am. Okay, so recognize that that's the source. And worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Where is it that we worship him? It's not, we don't worship him in the body. We don't go to some external temple. We worship him in our heart and in our mind, in our imagination. That's where we go to claim our divine right, to claim whatever salvation we need from whatever problem we have. Doesn't matter if it's a physical problem, doesn't matter if it's emotional, spiritual. All of the problems are solved by going in to that holy place where everything is pure, beautiful, and virginal, really. And that's the human imagination. Verse 3, the voice of the Lord is upon the waters. The God of glory thundereth. The Lord is upon many waters. So the voice of the Lord is upon the waters. Water always represents the subconscious because there's a surface level and then there's a deep, there's a darkness underneath that seems somewhat mysterious, that seems somewhat more liquid, it's more fluid. That is the subconscious. So if the voice of the Lord is upon the waters, that means the things that you're declaring with your speech, with your inner speech, your outer speech, that is what's dictating the form that the subconscious takes and ultimately the form that your reality takes. The God of glory thundereth, that's the next part. That just means that, it's, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you to interpret. I mean, it just obviously is invoking this sense of power, and it's a sort of, it's a powerful voice. And the Lord is upon many waters. So here we can think of it maybe as like not, when you command things within yourself and you claim whatever reality you want in a single-minded way, it's not just your subconscious that's influenced, it's the subconscious of all other people. So if water represents subconscious, it's not just yours. We all share the same ocean. We're all waves in the same ocean. And so you're influencing not just your subconscious, but everyone's around you, everyone, and even some people that maybe aren't around you. Verse 4, the voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is full of majesty. So again, the voice of the Lord, that's not only powerful, it's the source of all power, right? So when you really begin to claim things with your speech internally and hold them and believe in them, the amount of power that it holds is immeasurable. And not only is it's full of majesty, so the type of power that it is, it's not a power that's like always striving or that's wrestling with things. When we say that the power is full of majesty, it's a regal sort of kingly power that isn't doubtful, that doesn't struggle or strive, that simply claims its birthright in a kingly sort of way, and then all good things come to it. Verse 5, the voice of the Lord breaketh the cedars, yea, the Lord breaketh the cedars of Lebanon. So here you have to know a little bit of mystical, biblical, ancient symbolism. It just so happens that I've picked up from some of the books that I've read that it's often that the cedars of Lebanon represent a very specific thing. So the cedars of Lebanon, Lebanon was known for having some of the most cherished wood or lumber in the region, and the cedars in particular were especially prized. The cedar wood was like the luxury type of wood, but more importantly, because of how precious it was considered, it came to represent truth. So truth in this very pure, beautiful form. So let's just assume for a second that that interpretation is correct, that the cedars of Lebanon represent truth and the beauty of it. So if the voice of the Lord breaks the cedars of Lebanon, then what it's doing is redefining reality. So we think of the facts of the world as being a certain type of truth. If you're breaking those facts of the world, if you're breaking those truths, then what you're doing is you're reformulating your reality, how you want it to be. So that's kind of what's being described here. Verse 6, He maketh them also to skip like a calf, Lebanon and Syrian, like a young unicorn. What does that mean? Boy, that's some rich symbolism, isn't it? I wish I had done some research before doing this because I feel like there's got to be something really good there. Unfortunately, I'll admit I don't know exactly what this symbolism is. But if I imagine, let's just try and work through it together. If we're imagining something skipping like a calf is, so we know that Neville Goddard, he messes with this word calf a little bit because there's a weird overlap between the word for calf in Hebrew and the word stripling, which just means a youth of any type. So we don't have to necessarily think of it as a horse or a kind of like calf in the literal sense, but we do have a mention of a unicorn later on, which kind of reinforces this idea that we are talking about a specific type of animal. So let's just say it is a calf. If it's skipping like a calf, that seems to imply this sort of happiness, joyousness. You're born again or something when you break the cedars of Lebanon, or you break the facts of the world, you break through and you recognize, oh wow, you can claim whatever you want and feel it real, and that starts to manifest in your reality. Well, now there's this sense of joyousness. You're born again like a new calf. Lebanon and Syrian, like a young unicorn. So what is Syrian? Bear with me. You know what? I'm going to dig in real quick, and if you guys can be patient. I mean, no one's even watching this anyway, so I'm just going to do this for myself. I'm going to look at Blue Letter Bible app. I'm going to pull it up on my phone. I'm going to go to Psalms chapter 9, or Psalm 29. Give me 1 second. Just typing in Psalm 29. And we're going to look up specifically what Syrian represents here. We'll go to that chapter, and then we'll look at the interlinear, it's called, so we can see every word and what it is in the Hebrew. So Syrian, according to Strong's definition, which he's one of the most well-respected concordances on interpreting the Bible, it's a sort of peak of Lebanon. So it means sheeted with snow, so like a mountaintop, how there's usually snow on top of it. So apparently in Lebanon, there's like a mountain, Mount Lebanon. It's a famous, in fact, some of my ancestors are from there. But so in Mount Lebanon, there is like a mountain. Syrian would be the top of it, so this snow-covered peak. So he maketh them also skip like a calf, Lebanon and Syrian. So it seems to me like the peak, the snow-covered peak, would mean something like the crown of the head or the highest state of mind, most likely. So you could say that if you're skipping like a calf in the highest state of your mind, well then the spiritual part of you is really joyous. And so Lebanon also, it's a mountain range in Palestine, and it means the white mountain. So again, there's this reference to whiteness, this reference to a peak. It's a wooded mountain range. So we have, in contrast to Syrian, which is the sort of like tippy top of the mountain, we have Lebanon, which is kind of the more forested area surrounding that mountain. So you can think of the forested area is kind of the part of your awareness or the part of your subconscious that is private to you. So trees a lot of times kind of like, especially if they're surrounding a mountain, they're creating a kind of exclusive area, an area that's walled off and private. So if we're talking about this forested area of Lebanon, that represents you, this kind of like more magical subconscious place that you're entering, and you're happy in this magical place. And then, there's kind of like the mountain top, which you're also happy there. And then finally, we have like a young unicorn. I'm not happy with the way this is going, by the way, but I'm just going to finish it out, and then we will move on. Hopefully you guys can do a better job of interpreting this than me, because I feel like I'm not doing the best. But I just want to look at the word unicorn here and see what it means. So according to Strong's definition of this, the Hebrew is reem, I think is the way you pronounce it, rahame maybe, and it means a wild bull. It could also mean a unicorn, but he makes them skip like a calf, Lebanon and Syrian, like a young unicorn. So if we're talking about a young bull, we're talking about a young calf, we're talking about a young unicorn. This is an animal that's fresh, strong. It's skipping through the world in a kind of triumphant, youthful, energetic way. Maybe that's all we really need to take away from that. I'm sure there's more, but I want to move on. So we're moving on. Verse 7, the voice of the Lord divideth the flames of fire. So what are the flames of fire? The voice of the Lord divideth the flames of fire. What do you think the flames of fire are here in this instant? So it seems that there is, there's an imagery sort of here of parting the Red Sea, maybe. So the Strong's definition, the word here is, the Hebrew word is aish, and it just means fire. It really does just mean fire, literally. The flames, on the other hand, the word is liaba, and then again that just means flame, or it could also mean head of a spear. So what does it mean to divide the flames of fire, huh? It seems to me like you're creating a path. If you have fire seems to be in this case, it seems to be blocking you off from your goal. The voice of the Lord can sort of part that barrier so that you can go through it. Also, fire does consume, right? So there's something to be said about when we walk with faith and use these spiritual principles to walk towards our goal, then there's a part of us that cannot be, the part of us that traverses that distance is the part of us that can't be consumed. It's the part of us that's eternal, maybe. Might be something there. Verse 8, the voice of the Lord shaketh the wilderness. The Lord shaketh the wilderness of Kadesh. Now, Kadesh is a really rich word here, so let's just dive into that really quick. This turned out to be a lot of research on this one. I wish I had done some beforehand, but I really want to talk about what the meaning of Kadesh is, because according to Strong's definition, Kadesh, it means a sanctuary in the desert. So it's kind of like an oasis of sorts. And of course, in our minds, we have this oasis where we can claim anything we want. So if the wilderness is being shaken, the wilderness around this sanctuary, to me that means that our ideas are being shaken up, they're being rearranged to now align with the fulfillment of our desire. Voice 9, the voice of the Lord maketh the hinds to calve, and discovereth the forest, and in his temple doth everyone speak of his glory. Hinds to calve. Now that is a turn of phrase, isn't it? I'm afraid we're going to have to look that one up too. The voice of the Lord maketh the hinds to calve. So if we're looking up hinds, it means doe or deer. The word is ayala. And to calve, it's a verb. The verb is cool. And the Strong's definition of that is to twist or whirl, or to dance or writhe in pain or fear. to twist or whirl. That's the most literal. So if we say it makes the hinds to calve, we can think of it as making the deer twirl or whirl. So in the King James Version, there are 8 instances of this word hinds, which the Hebrew is ayala. And every time it's translated as hinds, and a lot of times it seems to reference a hoof. So it's like a doe, but referencing the hoof a lot of times. So there's an idea here of dancing for sure, because feet are where we dance from, and whirling or twirling is definitely dancing. So the voice of the Lord make the hinds to calve, and discovereth the forests, and in his temple doth everyone speak of his glory. The voice of the Lord makes the hinds to calve. I don't know. What do you guys think of this one? So I'm getting this image of a sort of like, you're in this magical forest and there's all this sort of dancing. Some of it is maybe like deer that are dancing. Some of it is maybe people that are dancing. And in his temple, we know what the Lord's temple is, right? So that's our mind, that's our imagination. And there, everyone speaks of his glory. Oh man, I might have to re-record this one on because I don't really know what to say about this. So let's move on. Verse 10, the Lord sitteth upon the flood, yea, the Lord sitteth king forever. The flood is the facts of the world. We're flooded with facts of the world all the time. So if the Lord sits upon the flood, it means he's not influenced by them. He determines the circumstances, and we determine our circumstances. The Lord will give strength unto his people. The Lord will bless his people with peace. Damn. Well, I hope you guys got something out of that. The gist of what I wanted to say with this is that don't forget, we are not a victim of circumstances. Don't ever allow yourself to be convinced that the highest thing you can do as a man or as a woman is adapt to your environment, fuck your environment, create your environment by first starting with your internal environment, dictating how you want that to be, and then wearing whatever mood that new scene conjures up in you. Wear it all day, fall asleep in that feeling, wake up in that feeling, however long it takes, embrace it, and really exercise this power. Go out and do it, prove to yourself that it's real, and then you can tell other people about it and make the world a better place. Hope that was somewhat inspirational. I hope you got something out of it. Thank you for listening. Till next time.